Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Zemo, the dad in DPS, and we are back with some great news, and that is Daemon X Machina Titanic Scion. Now, if you don't know Daemon X Machina, this is the second game in the series, and the first game was originally released on the Switch years ago. I'm not even sure when, and I played it to death. We have loads of Daemon X Machina videos on the channel, and this is a game that pretty much started my YouTube career to an extent, and I really enjoyed making videos for it. There's lots of really cool things. It's a game where you would pilot a mech, and otherwise known as an arsenal, and what you would do is you fight these things called immortals, and you'd have these massive boss fights against the colossal immortals, which were these massive robot things that all had different mechanics, all had different abilities, and all had these different weak points and places you shoot them and things they could do, and it was just wacky, crazy anime style fun, and it was a really good game. It still is. You can still get it, and I love it. I love Daemon X Machina. It's actually one of my favourite franchises, and I even have like the collector's edition of the original game behind me. Absolutely fantastic game. But Daemon X Machina 2 Titanic Scion is now out on demo and will be out this coming month. And this is something that I've been very, 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 very excited about. So, the game is out on the 5th of September, and that means we've just got under 2 weeks until it's released, so I'm going to talk a little bit about it. Now, this game is wildly different than the original. The way it kind of works, the way you do things is quite different, but at the same time, it does have an air of familiarity, and some of the mechanics are very, very similar. Before we get into the core of it, let's talk about the customization. Now, customization has always been a massive thing in Daemon X Machina. Your ability to customize your arsenal, your ability to customize your character. That's no different here. So in terms of your arsenal, which used to be a big hulking robot, now it's more of an Iron Man suit, and from what I know, there is the opportunity to have the big robots as well, but your arsenal is primarily this Iron Man suit, and you can customize the way it looks, the colors, decals on it, the parts that you use for it, and it's all very much what it was in the original game. And these parts all have different things where you can make your arsenal faster, slower, bulkier, more armored, capable of defending against very specific attacks. There's loads of different customization there, and that is something you'll get into when you play the game. When it comes to your character itself, you have lots of customization options to make your character look unique and completely different from anybody else's character, within obviously reason. There's only so many combinations, but you can change your character's color scheme, you can change their eyes, you can change their face. There's a lot of cool customization options, and this further gets developed with the mutation system that's in there. Now, outers are basically the same as immortals. They are things that have been affected by Femto and evolved in a sense. You can absorb immortals in this game and basically gain mutations. These mutations can take an effect on your appearance, where they can turn your limbs into a more monstrous form, they can change your face, they can do all manner of things. So there's customization in that sense. And the good thing about it is you can also reverse the aesthetic look while maintaining the actual effects, because the mutations give you different abilities and all that kind of thing. This is a similar mechanic to the previous game. In Daemon X Machina 1, you could alter your outer's appearance via cybernetics, which gave you different abilities. So it's a very similar mechanic, but with a different kind of result overall. And I find that's pretty cool. I do like that idea that you have a lot more control over your character customization, and you can actually reverse at least the visual effects without losing the actual benefits of the mutations as well. Then we come to the game itself. Now, visually, it is very impressive. Daemon X Machina's got a very specific style, and what I would describe it as if you brought Tron into the real world. You've got the way the world works, but with this overbearing red glow, and that red glow is really important to the nature of the game. Obviously, in this specific game, you're on the red planet, but the planet is completely bathed in the light of Femto, and Femto is a very, very important thing in the Daemon X Machina universe, because Femto is essentially the core of everything. It's the power source. It's the thing that causes immortals. It's the thing that causes outers. It's the thing that mutates creatures and creates the whole dynamic of it. And in the original game, it was a central part of the story, and it was all about, you know, the rise of outers and the changing of humanity into a different sort of life form. In this game, the aesthetic is still there. You've got that overbearing red glow, and it looks very much like the original game in terms of aesthetics and the way the landscapes look. But it's open world in comparison to the previous game, where you would go from your hub to a mission, you get transported to the map, you complete your mission, then you'd immediately get transported back to the hub. In this game, you travel forth between different fast travel points, or, you know, on foot, flying, horseback. There's loads of different vehicles and stuff like that, but you traverse the landscape. It's open world within reason. You know, you can only fly so high, you can't go over certain mountains, that kind of thing. That might change as you get deeper into the game. We don't know, because it is only a demo, but you do have that ability to explore and do things a bit more on your terms, whereas in the previous game you just lined up for missions, did a mission, came back, lined up for missions, did a mission, came back. Now you can activate missions and then go out and do your thing and go and explore while you get towards that mission, then do the mission. And that is definitely a cool factor. I think having a bit more open world makes it feel more like, if anybody played Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Nintendo, it's not the Switch, the Wii U. If anybody played it on that, I suppose you can get it on the Switch now as well. That was a great game. I absolutely adored it. I loved it. But it gives the same feel as that to an extent. It has a combination of the different aesthetic and playstyle mechanics that make me think it's X, but it's also Daemon X Machina. It's just, why do they always have X in them? Either way, the open world, and I'm loving the look of it. Now, I do realise that in the full game there's going to be more biomes, there's going to be more things that look different from the original game, and I've seen them in trailers, seen them in loads of different things, so I'm eager to explore that in the next, well, in 2 weeks' time when the game finally launches, and hopefully we get a lot of cool aesthetics. Now, next we move on to how combat feels. There's an extent that it does feel similar to the original game, albeit slower by comparison. Daemon X Machina had a very fast-paced, really quick combat style, and because the game was obviously on a smaller scale, you had very limited space on maps, you had very limited amounts of objects that spawn in and out, so the game could obviously run at a higher speed and was moving very quickly. And I feel like Titanic Scion is a bit slower paced, a bit more like, I probably would compare it to Dark Souls 3 in terms of the way the combat works. It's not slow, like it's not deathly slow, but you need to work on your timing, your dodges, your spacing with attacks and things like that. And that was all in Daemon X Machina originally. But it felt more like you were constantly flying, and there was a lot more of that like up in the air, flying about, zipping about really quickly and dodging things in aerial combat. This feels a bit more tailored to slow-paced, methodical thinking. And it's not a bad thing. It's definitely not a bad thing for me. I don't have the same reaction speed I did back in the day. But this gives me the chance to play it like Dark Souls 3. And I really enjoyed Dark Souls 3. I'm really good at Dark Souls 3 as far as I'm concerned. I used to fight people in PvP and that and beat them in 3-on-1s. But I'm enjoying this game. I'm enjoying the combat system. It still takes a little bit getting used to. The camera can be a little bit janky, I feel, but that I think needs to be a sensitivity thing. I need to experiment whether I prefer playing it on keyboard versus on controller, and go from there. I think there will be a point where maybe I'll end up going keyboard because I have a bit more control with my hands and whatnot, even though typically if it was a Dark Souls game I'd be playing it on the controller because I feel like I play better that way. But we'll see. We'll see what I initially end up kind of settling on with it. But the combat system is fun. And I think slowing it down a little bit might open the game up to a lot more people. I always found that in the original Daemon X Machina, the movement system being so quick and so jerky might put off some people. This might bring more in. And I feel like it's fun. I enjoyed the combat. I enjoyed the fighting the boss that comes up. I took my hand at trying against Gunfort in there. I didn't get completely dominated, but I don't think I was using the right gear to take him on, or at least good enough gear to take him on. He just was taking too little damage and dealing too much to me. But maybe that's just a skill issue. Always is a skill issue. So, what do I think overall? Well, overall, the game looks good. The game plays quite well. It's fun. And I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. I could have spent hours wandering around searching the landscape, but I'm going to leave that for when the game comes out because, quite frankly, I feel like I want to experience the game when it's released. I always do. On top of that, there is optimization issues. What I would say about this game is it doesn't run as smoothly or as well as I would have liked. You know, it runs fine. It does run fine. I'm not crashing, I'm not getting massive lag spikes, but the way it kind of moves isn't as smooth as I would like. Now that might be an optimization issue on my end, that might be an optimization issue on the end of Marvelous and the developers, but we'll wait and see. I can't really judge a game based on a demo. You know, this could be a build that's months old and they could have optimized things and made things perfect. But when it comes to PC ports, I'm always a little bit reticent to be overly happy about how it's running for me, because Monster Hunter Wilds is a prime example of that game was optimized to hell, and a lot of people couldn't play it on PC when it launched. So I have to wait to see how this goes when the game is fully released. But one thing I would say is I could have continued playing for hours and hours on end, searching the landscape. But I want to leave that for when the game's out. I don't want to spoil it for myself. On top of that, the game on release could be different than what we have here. That's always the thing when they give you a demo. You're not getting what you're actually going to be buying. You're just getting a little sneak peek. So I think it's going to be great. And I'm really looking forward to the music. Because if you don't know, Daemon X Machina has one of the best freaking soundtracks in gaming. It hits hard, and I am expecting this one to slap. Either way, guys, if you like this video, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And for all the outers out there, we'll see you in the field once again, guys. Either way, catch you next time.